Have you ever wondered how changes in military draft rules can impact a nation's defense strategy? The Ukrainian Defense Ministry has taken an unconventional step in its military drafting process. In an attempt to bolster their armed forces, they've expanded their draft parameters to include individuals with certain health conditions. This is a departure from traditional military draft rules around the world. These new rules now allow individuals living with conditions such as HIV, tuberculosis, and even cancer to serve in the armed forces. This is a significant shift, as these individuals were previously considered unfit for military service due to their health conditions. But under the new rules, these health conditions no longer automatically disqualify someone from serving their country. The changes go beyond just broadening the pool of potential draftees. The Defense Ministry has also eliminated the status of partial eligibility. This means that individuals who were previously considered partially eligible due to their health conditions now require a re-evaluation by a military medical commission. The commission will determine the individual's fitness for service and could potentially assign them to roles that are less physically demanding based on their health status. This isn't just about enlisting anyone and everyone into the military, however. The ministry has also made provisions for individuals with mental health conditions such as schizophrenia and those with mild substance addiction. These individuals are now considered fit for non-combat duties, further expanding the scope of who can serve in the Ukrainian military. These changes come at a time when Ukraine is dealing with significant military challenges. President Zelensky has stated that the number of troop fatalities in the ongoing conflict with Russia is lower than the figures estimated by the Russian defense minister. The Ukrainian military is aiming to enroll more troops to provide rest for frontline soldiers, with no plans for demobilization as long as the conflict persists. These changes are not just about expanding the draft pool, but also about adapting to the realities of ongoing conflict. Health conditions, once a barrier, are now being considered in a new light. This shift in perspective is most evident in the Ukrainian Defense Ministry's recent changes to its military draft rules. The ministry has opened its doors to individuals living with health conditions that, in the past, were seen as disqualifying factors. Under the new rules, individuals with HIV, tuberculosis, or cancer are no longer automatically ruled out for military service. Instead, their potential is recognized, and they are evaluated on a case-by-case basis. The Military Medical Commission then assigns these individuals to roles that are less physically demanding, yet still crucial to the functioning of the armed forces. Thus, a health condition, instead of being a blanket disqualification, is now a factor in determining the best fit for each individual within the military structure. The new draft rules do not stop at physical health conditions. They extend to mental health conditions as well, opening up the possibility for individuals with mental illnesses such as schizophrenia or mild substance addiction to serve in the armed forces. The Ukrainian military now considers these individuals fit for non-combat duties. This move acknowledges the diverse strengths and talents individuals with these conditions can bring to non-combat roles, from logistics and administration to technical and support services. This inclusive approach is a significant shift from traditional military recruitment practices. It's not about lowering the standards or compromising the military's operational effectiveness. Instead, it's about recognizing the potential in every individual and finding a place for them where they can contribute to the best of their abilities. Inclusion and diversity in the military are not just about fairness or political correctness. They are about drawing from the widest possible talent pool and harnessing the strengths of every individual to serve the nation. It's about acknowledging that everyone, regardless of their health condition, can contribute in meaningful ways to the defense of their country. In the face of necessity, the Ukrainian military is redefining what it means to be fit for service. And in doing so, it's not just changing its recruitment practices, but also challenging our preconceived notions about health, ability, and military service. How might these changes in draft rules alter the Ukrainian military strategy? That's the question we might be asking ourselves. The new draft rules have strategic implications that go beyond the mere inclusion of more individuals. They represent a potential paradigm shift in the way the Ukrainian military operates and strategizes. President Zelensky's claim of lower troop fatalities in the conflict with Russia is an interesting point to consider in this context. Could it be that these new rules are part of a larger strategy to reduce casualties? By drafting individuals with certain health conditions and assigning them to less demanding roles, the military could be aiming to maintain its operational strength while mitigating the risk to its personnel. This could potentially lead to a decrease in fatalities, substantiating the president's claim. Moreover, these rules might have an impact on troop rotation. The Ukrainian military aims to enroll more troops to provide rest for frontline soldiers. This is a critical aspect of maintaining morale and combat effectiveness over prolonged periods of conflict. With the new rules, the pool of potential draftees becomes larger, allowing for more frequent rotation of troops, and thereby reducing the strain on those serving on the front lines. Looking at these changes from a broader perspective, they could also have an impact on how the conflict is perceived both domestically and internationally. By showing a willingness to adapt and evolve, the Ukrainian military is sending a message of resilience and determination, which could have repercussions on the diplomatic front as well. But it's not just about perception. The new draft rules might also result in a more diverse and inclusive military, which could foster innovation and adaptability, key elements in any modern military strategy. These changes could mark a significant shift in the Ukrainian military's approach to the ongoing conflict. It will be interesting to see how these adjustments play out on the ground and whether they will indeed lead to the desired outcomes. As always, only time will tell. Not all changes are met with universal approval. So what's the controversy surrounding these new draft rules? In the wake of the Ukrainian Defense Ministry's recent decision to include individuals with certain health conditions in the armed forces, a wave of criticism and controversy has followed. Critics argue that drafting individuals with conditions such as HIV, tuberculosis, cancer, and substance addictions could potentially pose serious risks and challenges to the military. Firstly, there's the question of the physical and mental robustness required to operate in a military environment. Even if these individuals are assigned to less demanding roles, the rigors of military life could potentially exacerbate their health conditions, leading to complications that could hamper operations. Secondly, the inclusion of individuals with mental illnesses such as schizophrenia and mild substance addiction has raised eyebrows. The unpredictable nature of these conditions could potentially lead to unforeseen incidents, impacting the safety and well-being of other soldiers. Furthermore, the move has sparked concerns about the impact on morale within the ranks. The military is a close-knit community, and the introduction of individuals with these health conditions could potentially lead to stigma and discrimination, thereby affecting the overall morale and cohesion of the unit. But perhaps the most significant criticism stems from the perception that this move signifies a desperate measure on the part of the Ukrainian military. Critics argue that by drafting individuals traditionally considered unfit for military service, the Defense Ministry is perhaps revealing a dire need for manpower, a situation that could potentially be exploited by their adversaries. However, it's worth noting that these are just potential criticisms and controversies. The true impact of these new draft rules will only be known in the fullness of time, as they are implemented and their effects observed on the ground. As with any change, the new draft rules are likely to face their share of scrutiny and debate. What does the future hold for the Ukrainian military draft in light of these changes? As we peer into the crystal ball of the future, we see a Ukrainian military that's poised to change significantly. These modifications to the draft rules are a clear signal of this transformation. The inclusion of individuals with certain health conditions and the removal of partial eligibility status may herald a shift in the military structure. We could see a more diverse range of personnel serving in a variety of roles based on their abilities rather than their limitations. This change in the military draft rules could also lead to a rethinking of strategy. With a broader pool of draftees, the Ukrainian military may have more options in terms of staffing and deployment. This could allow for a more flexible approach to conflict, possibly reducing troop fatalities and providing rest for frontline soldiers, as President Zelensky has suggested. The future of the Ukrainian military draft is also likely to be marked by ongoing adaptation. As long as the conflict persists, the military will need to continue evolving its draft rules to meet the demands of the situation. This could mean further revisions and tweaks to the eligibility criteria, or new strategies for managing and deploying personnel. In the long run, these changes could have a profound impact on the Ukrainian military. They could lead to a more inclusive, adaptable force that is better equipped to handle the challenges of ongoing conflict. However, they also raise important questions about the balance between inclusivity and the physical and mental demands of military service, which will need to be carefully managed. As the Ukrainian military continues to adapt, these changes in draft rules may just be the beginning.